Ninjago as a franchise is now coming up to being over 11 years old, and with that, there's a ton of memories people have from when they were kids watching the series. So given that the end of the series is coming up, I took to the community tab to ask you what your favourite Ninjago memories are, and in this video we're going to be going over them all. I'll also splice in a few of my own if I feel like it. Our first comment comes in from Jewel Vanna, who says, back in the good old season 1 days, a friend and I were arguing about who the Green Ninja was going to be. I thought it was going to be Kai because he was the main character, and he thought it was going to be Jay. We argued about it for weeks until the episode where it got revealed finally came. I went to school excited to say we were both wrong, but the moment I brought it up he said, no, I thought it was going to be Lloyd, and I had no way to prove otherwise. I'm still pissed about it nearly 11 years later. Our next comment comes in from David Brick Productions, who says, Ninjago has been a huge part of my life since it began. It's been there for me in the good times and the bad and provided a lot of comfort over the years. From the early days of spinner battles and speculation and waiting for the DVDs to release, to the end of Masters of Spinjitzu and now the end of the show itself. While the show has had some rough patches and some abysmal release schedules, the show as a whole means so much to me and I can rewatch every season and find some level of enjoyment. Even the lesser ones like Season 7 and Season 11. Ninjago is truly special to me and it always will be, and while I'm sad to see it end, I'm curious to see what the future holds for the franchise. To the cast and crew, even though they probably won't see this, thank you for everything, you've made something truly special. One of the most nostalgic Ninjago things for me that's ever come out is Day of the Departed. The lead up to Day of the Departed was absolutely hype and was about a 9-month wait of speculation, theorizing, and just people freaking out at like, oh my god, all the old villains are back, they're all teaming up to fight the ninja, this season looks amazing. It wasn't a season. The actual special itself, while good I think, was a bit underwhelming, especially after a 9-month wait and insane hype cycle, but that hype cycle leading up to Day of the Departed was absolutely unforgettable for me. There were so many great stop motion series that were created in anticipation of it, there was so much great Instagram content, there was a lot of awesome theories going around, and just discussion of Ninjago was really fun at this time. I still have a bunch of leftover photos back from 2016 when I was like 12 of like the pictures I took of the Day of the Departed minifigures. I also have photos of some old customs. For example, I made a custom of the returned Garmadon, and since I got into Ninjago after the Garmadon face prints had already kind of cycled in and out and I never had enough money to get the Sensei Garmadon ones, I was kind of stuck using Ghost Army face prints, but I mean, I think my custom was solid. I think it was alright. I'll let you guys be the judge in the comments. Is this custom great or is it bad? While 2016 wasn't the best year for me all in all, Day of the Departed and its lead up was always something that I'll hold very close to my heart. One of my most memorable moments of being a Ninjago fan was back in 2015. I went to my local shopping market and looked down to the DVD section, and then I saw the new Ninjago Possession season out with Possessed Lloyd on the front. I was so excited to see it, so my parents bought it for me and I got home and I watched all 5 episodes that were on the disc, and since then, Ninjago Possession has stayed one of my favourite seasons, although I think Crystallized might change that. I want to add my own input here, but Possession is always going to be one of the most nostalgic Ninjago seasons for me, probably just behind Day of the Departed. The build up to that, I distinctly remember waking up and seeing the first like Toy Fair like advert, I think it was, saying that Lloyd is going to be possessed in the season, and then just rushing into school and showing one of my friends. That was really hype. I have 2 other like really significant Possession memories that I want to share with you all now. So the first one was I went into my mum's cupboard one time leading up to my birthday, and in it I saw the sets Attack of the Moro Dragon and Zane's Titan Mech Battle, and it just blew my mind because like this was like pretty early into when I was into Ninjago. I got into it late 2014 and got like a bunch of small tournament sets but never got any big ones. So these were the first like actual big Ninjago sets I got, and dude, it was just so awesome knowing I had them. I don't know if anyone else has had this memory of seeing birthday presents earlier than you're supposed to, but it's always such like an insane, like, cool experience just as a kid. The other one I have is around the age of like 11, 12-ish, which is what I was when Possession was coming out. School kids, like at least in the UK, usually do this thing called residential, where you just go camping for a few days and do like a bunch of activities and stuff. I have this very distinct memory of like lying on the couch kind of like, I want to say half asleep. It was so long ago I can't remember at this point. I think my mum was like ironing my clothes and packing them for residential because like I was like a stupid kid and didn't know how to iron yet. And I can distinctly remember while doing this watching the Ninjago episode Winds of Change in English for the first time. I want to add a third memory just randomly. So when I got back from this residential trip, the episode where they go to Cloud Kingdom came out in German, and while I couldn't understand what was going on, the visuals of Cloud Kingdom were just like so cool to see as a kid. Even nowadays, almost 8 years later, Cloud Kingdom is still a beautiful set piece, but seeing it on my 2013 iPad as a kid was just mind-boggling to me. Possession has some really good memories. Our next comment comes in from Cheesy Pies, who says, I remember when the pilots first came out, I was around 12 and I remember having seen the commercials for it in the days/weeks prior, but I missed it when it originally aired on the 14th. I think I finally saw it when it was rerun the next day on the 15th. It was cold and snowy that day. I asked that afternoon if I could borrow the TV, knowing my grandparents would have wanted to watch the news, and my grandma said yes. I remember sitting down at the kitchen table. My grandma watched it with me. She thought they were neat. When I got to watch it, I instantly loved it so much. The characters, the cool weapons they were after, and just the vibe even had me excited. I knew I wanted to see more as soon as possible. I'm glad I was able to see more. To think I've come back to Ninjago multiple times ever since. That's over 10 years later and it's still impacting kids, teens, and adults even today. Maybe next year when the new series comes out, there'll be another kid, this time on an iPad probably, next to their own grandparent. Just as inspired and excited for the next chapter of Ninjago as well. I hope so. My most nostalgic memory was watching the Season 2 premiere. I was on vacation with my family and I made it a point to ensure that I was able to watch it. So my parents decided to make it a movie night, letting me grab dinner and popcorn from a nearby Target. Sitting there on the hotel bed watching Darkness Shall Rise and eating dinner is something that sticks with me all these years later. It's probably why I still have a soft spot for that episode even to this day. Our next comment comes in from Foxy the Plushie, who just says, the entirety of the LEGO Ninjago movie hype leading up to its release. And yeah. The movie, like Day of the Departed, was a bit of a mixed bag. I thought it was very good, but a lot of people have mixed opinions on it. But the build up to that movie was so fun. It had some of the best sets in the franchise's entire run, and it was just such it was so interesting and new seeing the reimagining of Ninjago for a big screen, and actually seeing Ninjago on the big screen was awesome. One of my best memories of the movie hype was when one of the Instagram group chats I was in found out what Zane's new voice sounded like through some random crappy web game, and were like, wow, this sounds really weird. I remember reading that group chat and hearing the voice for the first time while I was at a bed and breakfast. I think our family was at a wedding at the time of like a family friend, and I remember it was pitch black in the B&B, everyone else was asleep, and I was sitting there listening to that Zane voice thinking, this is really weird, I wonder what the group chat thinks. Also, actually seeing the movie, like I said before, seeing Ninjago on the big screen was awesome, but it was such an awesome night. My best friend at the time, me and him went and watched it in cinemas, and we were like some of the only people there because that movie kind of flopped. So on the plus side, we didn't have any like annoying kids screaming in it. And then after that, we got pizza. We brought it home, and the pizza toppings were just completely, like, thrown off of it, because it got, like... Well, I may or may not have not been holding the box properly, so it caused the pizza to get shoved inside the box. Either way, we still enjoyed it, I think, from what I remember. But that whole night, just seeing the Ninjago movie was, like, very nostalgic to me, and I really like it. Our next comment comes in from General Cryptor, and this one hits very hard for me. Watching Artifacts and Ninjago videos, I kind of miss those. And yeah... In case you guys don't know, maybe like people who are newer to the community, Artifacts was like this channel that just uploaded like time-lapse builds of Ninjago sets. And as a kid, when you didn't have all the sets, these videos were just so addicting to watch because it was like, wow, I want that. And seeing the set kind of get built in like stop motion was really awesome. The videos are totally kind of vapid and unoriginal, but as a kid, this stuff was insanely addictive. Probably the most nostalgic time for me for Ninjago has always been when I first got into it back in 2014. See, I first got into the theme in 2011 when I got a set. I think it was Ninja Ambush from a toy store because everyone at my school had Ninjago sets and it was the cool thing at the time. But after that, I did not interact with Ninjago at all for years. I didn't even know it was still running. Until Ninjago started airing in the UK in September, October of 2014, which is about 8 years ago now, which is insane to me. I remember my sister came up and told me this new show was on, called Ninjago, and they were airing Season 1, Episode 1, Rise of the Snakes. That's right, for like 2 months I had no idea the pilot episodes even existed. And I came down, I watched it, and that was the start of the downward spiral. After that, I was instantly hooked, and 8 years later, it's a franchise I'm still invested in. Over the fall of 2018, I basically was just discovering the first 3 seasons of Ninjago and the pilot and just got completely hooked into the world and characters. One of the most memorable parts of me is my first time watching Zane dying, which wasn't on a TV, it wasn't on a laptop, it wasn't on my iPad, it was on my Nintendo 3DS on YouTube. And for the longest time I hated Rebooted because I was pissed that Zane died. Even though he came back like a few months later in Tournament of Elements, I still always didn't like Rebooted for some reason. Now I think it's kind of okay. Just that first 3 months, getting into the world and characters for the first time, learning what the Serpentine are, seeing like the ninjas' insecurities and stuff starting to pop up, seeing Lloyd become the Golden Ninja, it was genuinely like such an awesome time to like get into that world. And then seeing the leak of Titanium Zane come out at the start of 2015 blew my mind as a kid. I have so many good memories associated with this minifigure, and it still remains as one of my favorite Ninjago and just LEGO minifigures of all time because of that. Even outside of my nostalgia, this figure just looks so cool. So seeing it after Zane was presumed dead at the end of Rebooted was so hype. Yeah, Tournament of Elements was an excellent season, and looking back, it's just so nostalgic. I remember stuff like getting Jay's Electromech, I think Red Nose Day, which is like some charity event in the UK, as a kid, and oh man, just what a good season. Okay, this video is getting kind of long now, so I have one last comment I want to read out from a user called Alora Marie Go. Having the television on one afternoon and stumbling upon a handsome voiced spiky haired dude trying to save his pretty voiced sister caught my attention when paired with their Lego toy bodies. I was invested despite how silly they were, and when I heard the opening song, it was the catchiest tune I've ever heard from a cartoon, and I just continued watching and watching. These little things, these coincidences led me to becoming so engrossed I had the urge to find out more. What is this show? Where are the episodes? There's seasons? What's the schedule? What website can I watch them? Is there a wiki? I was lucky that while I saw the pilot and some episodes of season 1 on TV, there were 2 more seasons I could watch online at the time. Through time, I learned the ways of navigating online to watch episodes, messaging the Cartoon Network Asia Facebook page for when a season would be aired, memorized each episode's title and content, theorized on set details, making a Tumblr account to engage with the community, learned how to save images online when the website didn't let you, and so many more things, all because the show made me want to see more. The first media that compelled me to actually engage in the fandom, even in a passive way. I may not have the episode numbers memorized anymore, the same way I was able to tell from a single screenshot in which episode it belonged to. And I no longer go crazy looking into set details or engage in the community that much, but still, I look forward to what the show has in store. These little things, wonderful little things.